All right, we got a lot to cover today. Like I said, I haven't been in a podcast. I'll try to do as much podcasts as much as I can this month or next month. But I got a lot to cover. We got the Olympics coming in 3-4 days, which is November 2nd or 3rd, which is a Thursday or Friday. It's this week. And Halloween, as well as my podcast on Spotify and my YouTube channel. So I got a lot to cover, as well as faith-based and what does it take to become sober, and always have God first as your first priority as soon as you wake up in the morning, to give you strength to get you through the day, through your trials and tribulations of your past, present, and to the future. But I'm going to go in more depth on that, simply because everybody has to find their way to their whatever it's peace, their strength, and steer away from all the negativity from their past, the present, and the future, because the future always predicts what's going to be happening, of the outcome, how you're going to portray yourself, if you're going to be going to the dark side or you're going to the light. And to me, you have to always focus on God first to get you through that how would you call it, the mistakes that you had in your past, to strengthen you to your steps to the future, to the present, and slowly work your way to the future. You can never predict the future, although we always say, I predict, but through your gut feelings, you could always predict through your gut feelings, but always go through the moment, your daily whatever is. I get a lot of texts lately. Every time I'm on a podcast, every time I'm doing podcasts, I get a lot of texts. Okay, whether I know I get it from my channels, and my Instagram is blowing up right now, which is awesome. I had no clue why it's blowing up, but I'm posting a lot of good content, which is good. But hopefully it will also steer away to my YouTube channel as well, simply because it's stagnant. And we'll see what happens. All I know is that let's focus on what's going on with the muscle and fitness, the Olympics, Mr.Olympia, this coming week, November the 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th. So it's a long weekend. And I'm going to go. I woke up this morning and I seen, for those of you who ever watch RxMuscle with Dave Palumbo, you're gonna like this, because he right now he interviewed Jay Cutler, and I'm gonna critique on what Jay Cutler says about Nick Walker, which is a force to be reckoned with. But right now, we'll see what happens, and we'll see what he says about Nick Walker. This is brand new, just came to me. Someone sent me the link, and I appreciate Terry, sorry, for giving me the link on. If I'm missing, because I watch periodically RxMuscle 3, sometimes 4 times a week, especially when he comes with Lee Priest and the muscle and fitness. What do you call those guys? Misfits. They're just funny. It reminds me of back all my buddies that too. We'll just, it's like we're all kid at heart. Let's just put it that way. Make sure my audio's on, my video's on. And okay, so let's go start with Jay Cutler and his critique on Nick Walker on RxMuscle. I'm not gonna put the video, but I'm gonna let play the audio. Simply because of like I said, copyright reasons. You gotta also abide the law for YouTube YT. Okay, let's check it out, and I'll give you my commentating after his interview with Jay Cutler. Check it out.
For him to overcome, especially some of the new talent coming on. I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for him is we hold off some of these other guys.
So, okay, so I'm supposed to go to this sort of commercials here. Okay, let's check this out.
Let's touch on Nick Walker for a minute, because I think he's probably the most controversial, or the most popular guy in the lineup. I don't think anything, I've done shows. I just did a show with Milos yesterday and Dennis Wolf, and I think everyone agrees that no one's a bigger freak than Nick Walker. But maybe structurally he does have some challenges. When he gets up against some of these guys that have the Samsons and the Andrews. Is there a scenario where you see everyone at their best and Nick Walker winning the Olympia? Or do other guys have to be off for him to do that?
I think definitely Nick could win this thing. I really see it being a tough position to actually walk in and improve that much from last year to win this contest. I just feel like there's a few people in front of him that he'd have to get through in order to really and that's a structure thing, Dave. That's not Nick's like one of the most muscled guys. His condition is amazing, but when the width is the shoulder width and the overall dominance in height to weight ratio. I mean, I think he's kind of capped out, like you said. I think we talk about Hardy, and I mean, does Nick really need to get a lot bigger? It's just more proportions. He just needs to shapely grow the upper body and the lower body and kind of put that illusion of the waist, right? So I think it's going to be very difficult to him for him to overcome, especially some of the new talent coming on. I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for him is we hold off some of these other guys because of detail. Also, I think deep lines and separation. If I was in Nick's corner, and I think he has a great team, it's just about detail tie-ins.
I think so. I agree with that.
Just kind of letting the body mature a little more, and that he could be a couple of years away from that. He's still a young guy. Just because he finished 4th and 3rd, I know he wants to move up in position, but I mean, proportions. This guy he does have some crazy. His poses are really strong. I mean, it's hard to find necessarily a weak pose. I mean, maybe, like I said, it's something like the lat spread that's a width or something like that. But...
Okay, I'm gonna critique Nick Walker's double bicep pose while he's bent down in a squat. From 2013, you can see the biggest the massive gains he did from 2013 to 2023. So that's 10 years ago. That massive difference. So that's why I calls him the mutant. So Nick Walker's stage presence is phenomenal. He's got the confidence, and you're automatically drawn to his presence when he's got the confidence to hit all his poses, and the audience focuses on his movements and his energy. His energy is good. It's live. It's vibrant. It's very eye-catching. His monstrous look, his physique, his detailed, his he's not so much blocky. That's why he's called a mutant. When you are going against aesthetically other competitors, mutant Nick Walker has got what it takes to become a champion. Look at Jay Cutler, and he's talking about Nick Walker right now. So I'm going to finish what Jay Cutler says about Nick Walker. It's going to be all I got to say is going to be a very competitive show. It's going to be a battle of the freaking masses, and for some reason I'm drawn to this Olympics 2023, and I'm going to give you more insight for what I've known of my experience as an ex-competitor as well. And I'll give you my 2 cents about the whole show, beginning, middle, and the end. So let's listen to the rest of Jay Cutler on Nick Walker.
You know, he definitely, as he keeps training, he's going to work more definement in there. And, you know, he can be a front runner in the years to come.
So you think he's still developing pretty much?
Still developing, still young.
Yeah.
He's still finding his rhythm. And, you know, I think he can be in that same position, but for him to move up, he's going to have to bring something extra special. And, you know, like I said, we've kind of seen that. He's wide open with his progress every single day.
Okay, so that was Jay Cutler and on Nick Walker. So what I think that Jay Cutler is giving his wisdom from his prior experience as a 4-time competitor of Mr. Olympia, and hopefully Nick Walker takes it in, soaks it in, and also applies it to his daily workout and really focuses on what he has to do to win that show in 2023. Samson Dauda, I from last year's show, if I'm not going to remember, I think Nick Walker simply. I have to go. I'm a little biased because of the shorter competitors against the taller competitors. Even though Nick Walker's a little bit shorter than the rest of the most, he's built to be an Olympic Mr. Olympia competitor. What he'll bring to the table, it better be better than last year. He's got to give you the Y factor for us and the judges to steer his way. So Jay Cutler's insight, input, I guess we'll have to find out. I'm going to check out right now on Jay Cutler on Samson and Andrew Jack. Let's listen to what he says. This was yesterday's critique on let's check it out.
This is a young man's game. I don't care what anyone says.
It is a young man's game.
This is an age of Lunsford's in like that pop right now. He's like right at that age, end of his 20s, early 30s. In our era, Dave, who we admired, the Haneys and Yateses, and I mean, those guys retired into their early 30s, maximum mid-30s. I mean, Lee LaPlata stepped away. Now, you know, ever since Dexter Jackson, you know, brought back like the who was really good late. I guess
Roden won the Olympia.
Well, Roden did too, but also who was Albert Beckles competed in his 50s, right?
Beckles,
60s supposedly. Yeah.
Oh my God!
So we, but
guy's got like a 17-inch waist.
Now.
If I could remember,
I think it's
old school.
It's just the competition is just a lot more on the line. It's more of a lifestyle. It's what people do day in, day out. I think that it's a young man's game, man. I'm going to say that till the end of time, and you know, that's where you have the advantage.
The skin just doesn't look the same when you get a little older. I don't know what it is.
It's electricity.
Aging process.
Yeah.
But you know, like Lunsford's got that like shrink wrap look. Nick Walker's got that shrink wrap look. It's like the skin is so tight around their muscles, you know.
Yeah.
And you lose that, I think, when you get older. You know, not many people. Dexter was probably one of the few people who kept it. And I think that's why he kept doing so well into his, you know, late 40s.
And then listen, and you can change time a little bit if you start a little later. I mean,
take more GH.
Bodybuilders, we're going to peak into your late 20s and early 30s. Now, if you start in your late 20s, listen, Samson's getting better, dude, and he's close to the end of his 30s, right?
Andrew too, Andrew Jack too.
Yeah.
So I think it's sometimes when you start a little later, you defy time a little bit, but us early people.
Yeah, because I think because your body's catching up. It's catching up to your age.
Let's talk about Andrew
but when you're
Jack
constantly working out and dieting and taking
that were in the Olympia last year, but weren't a factor in the top 5. Then
taking
Samson comes back, wins the Arnold Andrew
stuff.
obviously finishes third, and he wins Texas.
Your body starts to form metamorph
leaps and bounds of
to
improvements. Obviously, Andrew working with Chris now, Milos working with Samson. I mean, when you look at these guys,
to a competitor,
you know, from an outsider standpoint with your expertise, I mean, these guys nail their conditioning on stage. I mean, you have to consider them super dangerous. I mean, Lee Haney said it, good big man always beats a good little man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think of Mr. Olympia, what do you think about? I mean, Mr. Olympia walks in the room and you're like, wow, that has to be the guy, right?
Right.
Those guys take total position of that. I mean, I hate every year trying to figure out, okay, well, you know, Andrew and Samson were in the back end out of the top 6 last year, right?
Yeah.
These guys potentially could be banging at the door or win it and be right there in 1-2 position, 3-4. I mean, really, anything goes. And I know people harp on, oh, they need to get in better condition, but if they do nail it, Dave, it's a very problematic spot for these guys. They can easily come in and win this contest. Listen, Andrew could have won the Arnold Classic, and I don't think a lot of people would have complained. Did he need a little more mass? Probably in some poses, yes, but you know, when you look at structure and tie-ins and all that other stuff, he's pretty dominant there. And I mean, I think Nick Walker could have won it if you had, you know, that mindset of that's the physique that should win. But Samson was the winner. I think he's dramatically improved. Now, what it lands on the Olympia stage is the big question. And how can Andrew Jack not be better working with Chris another time around now? You know, once you get used to that body, you know, you're a dietitian, you know. Once you learn someone's physique, it should become a little easier as long as they're listening. And I mean, Andrew's in training camp listening. The question is, you know, what everyone else is going to look like standing next to these guys that are 6 feet or over.
6'4", I think Andrew is, right, or something like that.
I think 6'2", maybe, but
he's tall,
dude. I mean,
crazy
as a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I mean, you know a little more than me on how he looks. He's been hidden, so we're not talking as much. I mean, I haven't seen. I mean, Nick Walker's the only one that's like in your face every morning when we wake up on Instagram.
Right.
So,
but I mean, when you see a guy like Andrew Jack, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, as a judge, I mean, how do you not, you know, want to put that guy first? I mean, he's just, I mean, that's like, who can sit on their abs at that height and that weight, you know, and have better abs than the smaller guys? I mean, it's incredible.
I don't know.
You just asked me why.
I don't know.
Miss the competition.
I don't know.
You think I'd want to deal with Andrew Jack or Sam?
Yeah. No, it's scary. There were no big. You were the big guy.
Tony Freeman was the big man, right?
That's true.
And he finished 4th in 08. I think you were helping him then.
Yeah. I thought he could have won that show.
He could. Listen, once again, I would have told you right then no, because no. But today, yeah, he could have. Dennis Wolf. I mean, another tall guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot. He came into his own. I mean. These guys are just genetic marvels, man.
You know, it's like Wolf had his weakness was like, right, he had like a little bit of a high lats and he had those long, you know, his glutes and hamstrings weren't terrific, although the rest of him was incredible on stage.
Once he's put it together though, Dave, he came in a couple years.
Yeah, he nailed it a few times.
It was time, but yes, you're right. I mean, you're looking at guys that genetically are better than what he was, and
that's what I mean.
I mean, I think he was 3rd one year. So, man, this is going to be. I mean, I think Samson. I would probably choose him right now to win that battle this year, but that doesn't mean it's forever.
I mean, let me pull this up. Hold on. Yeah, let me pull this footage up here of Andrew. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that looks like Lee Haney posing right there. I mean, the guy's 6'2" or bigger. I mean. How do you beat something like that? I mean, I wouldn't want to stand next to that. That's for sure. He's got hands.
I mean, and the funny thing is Andrew's so fresh to all this, right? I mean, he hasn't been competing a long time. You know, he was more of a, you know, a strength Instagram athlete, and of course now bodybuilding. I mean, he came in full force, and you know, granted. You know, it was close between him and Hunter at that Texas show. But once Andrew gets that polish and he really, I think, gains a little more confidence, he really could be he could be something this year if things align right.
You know, as a judge, it's got to be hard. You know, you get a guy like Andrew or Samson up there, and you put him next to reigning Mr. Olympia, Hadi Chupon, and next to Derek Lunsford, next to Nick Walker. I mean, that's a pretty crazy, weird, you know, like set of bodies you have to judge. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, because they're all completely different physiques.
And you know what? This could be the year that, you know, we assume, you know, the top two, we have to position them 1, 2 based on last year's. But listen, those guys could come in and push those guys right out to 3rd and 4th because it is a big consideration of different physiques. And you know, this era, Dave, I just don't know if there's going to be any long-term champions. We're going to see the 7-8s anymore. We're going to see the 6s. That's a big question mark. I mean, with the talent, I say this every year, but I feel this year more than ever, man, that top 6, Dave, was something else, right?
I think Jay Cutler's got it there. I think the 6, 7, and 8 time Olympians are going to be dinosaurs, and simply because the competitors are so in line and so competitive that it's so hard to look better the next following year while other people are chasing that goal as well, looking twice as good, slice and dice. But also the factor that their trainer, dietitian, they're also doing their homework on their competitors as well, upping the ante, whether what type of drugs they're using or the type of diet they're ingesting in their type of workouts and their routine. Everything goes hand in hand, unless you're a genetic freak like Lee Priest. He doesn't need any trainer. He's just going by his by what God gave him, and which is good because there's nothing wrong with that. For him, he just had that confidence out there when you're being a little short stature and the guys are twice as tall. But he's up there with the best as well too. That's why I always look back to Lee Priest, and I for that man, for that stature, go against the giants. Well, he's also just as big, just short in stature, compact, mighty might, super mighty might. So, but anyway, like that, he didn't need a coach. He just used his genetics and whatever cycle he was using, and he let genetics play, and hard work really paid off. I really think that he should have been an Olympic competitor, but it was up to the judges. And one thing I don't like about bodybuilding is anything that deals with judges, and judges can be bought. And as a former judge myself, not a pro judge, but as a lower competitive judge, you have to abide by how you call it, their rules. And if you judge, and if you think that person is placed higher than the other judges or the head judge, you get overruled by the head judge. I'm just saying, that's how it works. So it can be very controversial. So like I said, as a judge, I know how that works, and as a competitor, I know how that works. So I'm going to be pretty excited watching the Olympia 2023 coming up this year with Samson Dowda, Andrew Jack, and the mutant Nick Walker, as well as other competitors as well too. I can't name it at the top of my head, but I'm getting kind of excited because I'm getting back in the ball. For those of you who know me in the past as a former competitor, I didn't like bodybuilding. I despised it after I retired in 2028 and quit the whole family of bodybuilding when I finally realized that you can't go any further, and you have to really bite your tongue, eat some humble pie, and realize there's better competitors, bigger and better than you. Whether you're a lightweight, bantamweight, middleweight, heavyweight, it doesn't matter. they're all the same because you're all competitors. So you're all up on that stage, taking so much synthetic, so much drugs, eating so much food. And it's a me sport, and it's always me, me, me. You lose a lot of relationships on the way, and you become very self-absorbed, and you kind of lose yourself. So you're very self-centered. It's a very selfish sport, and if you're a selfish guy or a girl or whatever preference you prefer, you can lose a lot of good friends, solid friends. Let's just put it that way, and in a nutshell. So, like I said, I'm going to try to push more content out there on my social medias, and this will be going on my Instagram as well as my YouTube channel. So, and my Spotify as well too. There's so many damn social medias out there. It's hard to keep up. So I'm going to concentrate on my Instagram and my YouTube channel at the moment. My TikTok is up there. I'm steering away from the TikTok because too much TikTok is, and steering away from the politics as well too, because that could get you into trouble, because I already have my issues of what's going on with politics, and you too, and everybody knows what's going on. So you being silenced when you want your freedom is very important, especially if you're living in a so-called freedom country. It's not so much freedom anyway, so you got to really be careful what you have to say and do when you got people watching all over you. So, but anyway, that's another topic, another story, and we're going to definitely steer that away from the whole my social media, which is Instagram and YouTube right now, and I'm going to really stick to the content that I really like doing right now. Is faith-based, is my spirituality, my God, my family, friends, okay. And addiction is very, 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 very important to me, because I lost a lot of friends, good, solid friends, who lost their battle through addiction. And I'm going to give you my insight every so often of how I feel and what things to do, what to do and what not to do. And battling it is very, 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 very important. Losing your friend, okay, losing your friend who's a solid friend, who's been there through thick and thin, and a lot of other friends out there who just can't seem to kick it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, okay? You wake up in the morning, you say your daily prayers, and try to read scriptures and understand scriptures. You don't have to memorize it like other people, and they say, okay, I got to memorize this. No, you go over there, you do what you can do, and always keep God first. Your family second, your friends after, and third is your discretion, and let God be your guide. So that's always my motto ever since my whole ideal back in 2020, where the whole deal was whole life changing for me. That is definitely another story. So that will come up later on when it's time, but it's God's timing. So we'll see how that works and how it goes on, how I feel. But I'm giving you bits and pieces, crumbs, and how it is to steer away from that, because it is hard, because 99.9% out there who try to steer the way, try to quit whatever addiction you are, will always fall back into whatever. Change your mindset, change your way of thinking, and 100% wipe away all the negative people out of your life, period. No matter what is the main, if you want to live. And if you're starving for that peace and prosperity, well, not so much prosperity, but peace in your life, and prosperity will come after, when you feel like you're doing the right thing and what you're called out to do. So anyway, so I'm going to leave it the way it is for today. This is a bodybuilding segment, and why I think the 2023 Mr. Olympia should be an exciting one, and I'll give you more insight, input on my on this channel, YouTube channel, and my Instagram as well too. So don't forget to check it out, LAEntTV Podcast Vlogging, and on my as well AI digital format on my Instagram as well as my YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out my Spotify, and I will see you in the next video on the Olympia 2023. I'm going to go live on there, and be sure to check it out. and more commentating about what's going on with addiction